Okay, here we go. All right, so what's the first thing that Ms. Colvin has been doing whenever she sees this transversal diagram? What's the first thing I always do? Anyone remember? Before I start any work, there's something that I always do to the transversal diagram. Circle. There's that kinda. I mark all of my congruent angles. Remember when I always ask y'all which way do you want to go? Do you want to go top to bottom or bottom to top? Remember, I ask y'all that every time. All right, so which way do you want to go? Top to bottom or bottom to top? All right, so Juliana said top to bottom. So I'm going to go here, 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 and here. Now this means, here's what this means. Everything that I have marked with the green mark, all of those angles are equal to each other. Everything that's unmarked, those are equal to each other. Okay, so I've already given myself a pretty big head start on understanding which angles are going to be equal to each other and which angles aren't. Make sense? According to the marks that I have made, 1, 6, 3, and 8 are all equal to each other. 2, 5, 4, and 7 are all equal to each other. Okay? Number 1 says, which angle pair is alternate exterior angles? Alternate exterior. Which ones of these angles are on the exterior of the parallel line? Don't look at the answer choices. Tell me which angles are outside of the parallel line. 1 and, yes, 1, 5, 4, and 8 are all exterior. You agree? All right, so let's look at my answer choices. I need alternate exterior, 5 and 6. Are 5 and 6 alternate exterior angles? No, because 6 isn't even exterior, is it? Okay, this is out. 5 and 6 are actually called a linear pair. All right, what about 6 and 7? Are those alternate exteriors? No, they're not alternate, and they're not on the outside. Those are actually called same side interiors. They're on the same side of the transversal, right? What about 5 and 4? Are those alternate exterior angles? They're both exterior, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So yes, these are alternate exterior angles. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they're outside the parallel line. Yes, 5 and 2 are, one of them's exterior, one of them's interior, is what Juliana's noticing. They're actually called vertical angles. When they're diagonal to each other like that, they're called vertical. Sounds weird to say they're diagonal, so they're vertical, but any questions about number 1? Everybody okay? All right, number 2, which of the following angles is not congruent to angle 3? I have angle 3 marked. So I want an angle that's not congruent to it. I want an angle that is not marked. Okay? Angle 1. That's marked. I want one that's not marked. What's my answer for number 2? Y'all visually should be able to find it. Which one is not congruent to angle 3? Which one doesn't have a mark? Deanna, what do you think? Which one of these angles, according to your answer choices, doesn't have a mark on it? I've marked all of the congruent angles in green, and all of the ones that aren't marked are also equal to each other. So we want an angle that's not equal to angle 3. So angle 3 is marked. You want an angle then that's not marked. What would the answer be? Made with angle 1 because angle 1 is marked just like angle 3 is. So is it angle 2, angle 6, or angle 8? That's not marked like angle 3. Yep, angle 2 is the one that is not marked. Does everybody see it? Everybody okay with that? All right, number 3. The measure of 3 angles. Let me get a calculator. Okay. So I've got 3 angles. Here's one angle, here's another angle, and here's another angle. And it's asking me to find the measure of the smallest angle. So first thing I've got to do is I got to figure out what x is equal to. So Will, what do I know about the angles of a triangle? Huh? Yeah, but that's not, I said, what do I know about the angles of a triangle? What do I know about the angles of a triangle? It's not on there, but y'all should know. What do I know about the angles of a triangle? But what do I know about the angles of a triangle? Thank you. They have to add up to 180 degrees. So here's my 3 angles. So here's what I know. Somebody help me set this up. 2x plus 1 plus, what's my next angle? I got them circled. What's my next angle? Plus 3x minus 3 plus, what's my next angle? 9x. Has to equal what? Equals 180. And then you do comma x. All right, tomorrow, Leanna, get your calculator. You can be in Scratchpad or Calculate. Turn it on. All right, you ready? Leanna, you ready? We are going to solve this using the calculator. Here's the keystrokes to solve. You're going to hit menu. No, not 3, 2. And then you're going to hit number 3 and then number 1. And this should pop up. Menu 3, 1. Did you get the word InSolve on your screen? Okay. Now, we're going to type this exactly what I have here inside those parentheses. Okay? I'm going to type 2, and then all of your letters are down here. 2x plus 1 plus 3x minus, okay, look at this. This is your minus sign tomorrow. Sorry, Leanna. This is your minus sign. This is your negative sign. Okay? We're going to do minus 3 plus 9x. Okay? You got that much in there? Okay, get it typed in. Let me know when you get here. You got it? Okay, here's your equal sign right under the yellow key. Equals 180. Now, don't hit enter yet, because here's what we basically said so far. We've said, hey, calculator, solve this equation for me. We've got to tell it what variable to solve for. What variable did we use? We used x, right? So now I'm going to come down here. See this little key right here, comma? Hit the comma key, and then hit x, comma x, and it'll look like this in your calculator. Does it look like mine? All right, now hit enter. What'd you get? Does it say 13? Or did you make an error? Did you get an error? All right, let me see it. Let me see what you did. Oh, okay, here it is. Yeah. You see how yours is different than mine? 3x minus 3 plus 9x. You can put the x right here. 9x. Okay. All right. So, did everybody get insolved? What'd you get when you insolved it? I feel like you two are not paying attention. Will, I don't see, if you're not going to have Teams up in my review, then you don't need to have your computer up. Juliana, you're not on Teams with me, so you don't need to have your computer up. Huh? Just close it and pay attention to the review that we're doing. What did you get when you insolved this? X equals 13. Now, here's the problem. How many of you chose A? A is not the answer. They didn't ask us to solve for X. What does it say? What does the question say? What does the question say? I just highlighted it. What does it say? What is the measure of the smallest angle? Do you notice that they put the solution for X as one of the answer choices? They are counting on you to get this X equals 13 and go straight for that answer. But we're not finished. This is not the measure of the smallest angle. This is the value for X. What do I have to do next? This is only step 1. Yeah, you got to plug it in. Yeah, you got to plug it in. Now let's think about this for a minute. The smallest angle. Yeah, which one of these do you think is going to be the smallest angle? The 2x plus 1, the 3x minus 3, or the 9x? Think about it for a second. Which one do you think is going to be the smallest? Think about multiplication. This means 2 times x, this means 3 times x, and this means 9 times x. Which one would be smaller? 2 times x, 3 times x, or 9 times x? 2 times x is going to be the smallest angle. So that means I've got to plug, this is my smallest angle, I've got to plug a 13 in for the x. I've got to do 2 times 13 plus 1. What is 2 times 13 plus 1? Y'all have calculators. What is it? What's 2 times 13 plus 1? Mm-hmm. 27 is the smallest angle measure. Are there any questions? Do you understand why this wasn't the answer? Juliana, you understand why this isn't the answer? Okay. What did the question ask me? Did the question say solve for x? It didn't. It said, what's the measure of the smallest angle? Now, I have to know what x is equal to in order to answer the question, but that's just step one, right? We solved, we figured out what x is equal to, and then we plug x back into the angle measure. Yes? So sometimes it'll say solve for x. Sometimes it'll ask you what the angle measure is. You have to read it. Are we good? Mm-hmm. All right, look at number 4. Which is a possible measure of angle DCA? Here's angle DCA right here. Right here in green. This is an exterior angle. You remember what we said about exterior angles? We did this yesterday. What do I know about exterior angles? Okay, Will? We did some subtraction yesterday. It depended on the situation. But here's what I know. The two remote, if I'm writing, you're writing. The two remote interior angles should equal the exterior angle. Leanna, you writing this down? Okay, you should be. The two remote interior angles. This angle plus whatever this angle is has to equal this one. So we'll call this x. So 40 plus some number has to equal this number. I'm adding a number to 40 to get another number. So look at your answer choices. Which one does it have to be? Because I'm adding a number to 40 to get this number out here. They're asking me what this number could possibly be. Look at your answer choices. There's only one that makes sense. Which one is it? I'm adding 40 plus some number that I don't know to get this angle out here. They're asking me what could this angle possibly be. So you're saying this angle could be 36 degrees? How am I going to add 40 plus some number and get a number smaller than 40? I need you to think. I'm not going to spoon feed it to you. I need y'all to think for a minute. It's really not that hard. I'm taking a number 40 plus some other number that I don't know to equal this angle out here. It's asking me what angle, what measure could this possibly be? So 40 plus some number has to equal this number out here. Is it possible for this angle out here to be 36 degrees? Why, Juliana? You're right. Why is that not possible? No, it's simpler than that. Why is it not possible for this to equal 36 degrees? 40 degrees plus some other number has to equal 36 degrees. Does that make any sense? If I add a number to 40, isn't it only going to get bigger? It's not a trick question. Quit second guessing yourself. If I add a number to 40, isn't it going to get bigger? Right? I'm adding another angle measure to 40. So it's got to be bigger than 40. It can't get smaller. So it has to be D. It's not possible to do 40 plus x. It can't equal 36 degrees. We can't have negative. Now, if we were dealing with negative numbers, you could do it. But can you have a negative angle measure? Guys, can you have a negative angle measure? No. Okay, we have to be dealing with positive numbers here. It's not possible to add 40 plus a number and it equal 38. It's not possible to add 40 plus a number and it equal 40, because you could add 40 plus 0, but if you had 0 degrees, you wouldn't even have an angle, right? The only thing that's possible is to add 40 plus a number and it equals 70. This is the only one that's possible. Does this make sense to us? You cannot have negative numbers in angle measures. Are we good? All right, this is vocabulary. Let's look. Angles 1 and 3. And let me give you a word bank. Here we go. Alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, linear, vertical, and same side, interior. There's your word bank. Write those down. All right, so angles 1 and 3. What kind of angles are those? Yeah, vertical. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking if that word was vertical. What kind of angles are angles 1 and 3? Remember, when we did this outside, we talked about this is one set and this is the second set. When we talked about these angles, and we talked about the location of each angle in each set. So 1 and 3, if you'll look, 1 and 3 are in the same location, right? 1 is top left, so is 3. 3 is top left. Which word is that? They're in the same location. They're not, okay, but they're not same side interior. This one is inside, this one is outside. They're in the same location. What word did we use to, they're not alternate because they're on the same side of the transversal. These are corresponding. Corresponding means same location. Same location. All right, what about 4 and 7? What kind of angles are those? What are 4 and 7? And here, what are those? Well, this one's exterior, but this one's interior, so it can't be either alternate. They're not linear. Vertical is on the diagonal. These are vertical angles. They're on the diagonal from each other. What about 6 and 3? What are 6 and 3? Thank you. They're alternate interiors. They're inside the parallel line, and they're on opposite sides of the same circle. What about 2 and 3? Yep, they're same side interior. Good. What about 4 and 8? Oh, we've already used corresponding. What do you think? 4 and 8? Well, okay. It's okay. Let me explain why it's not exterior. The alternate interior and alternate exterior angles have to be congruent to each other. They're congruent. 4 and 8 obviously aren't congruent to each other, so they're not congruent. Four and 8 are a linear pair. Oh, she did? Leanna, did you say that, babe? I didn't hear you. Shout it out. I didn't hear it. And so 5 and 4 would have to be what? What kind of exterior? Yep. They're alternate exterior angles. Vocabulary, there's a few vocabulary on here. You're going to have to know it. Okay? Okay, define in terms of a triangle. What's an interior angle on a triangle? Interior. What does interior mean? Inside the triangle. So these are angles on the inside of the triangle. So that means an exterior angle is what? Outside the triangle. Mm-hmm. So this angle right here is exterior. You see how it's outside of the triangle? Yeah? What's your question, Will? Well, it depends on what your grade is for the semester. If you're just barely passing for the semester and you don't pass the exam, it could fail you for the semester. Or you need to do well on the semester exam to bring your term grade up. All right, now remote interior angles, those are the two angles let's see, the two interior angles, sorry. Two interior angles that add up to the exterior angle. So it looks like this. Here's a triangle. Here's an exterior angle. This angle plus this angle have to equal the exterior. This is a remote interior angle. This is a remote interior. And you see how it's not this angle, not the one that's right next to the exterior. It's the two furthest away from it. Does this make sense? Any questions on vocabulary? All right, let's turn it over. Okay, these two lines, actually this should say P and this should say Q. These two lines are parallel, so it's another transversal diagram. What's the first thing that Ms. Colvin always does when she sees a transversal diagram? Yes, good. So do you want to go top to bottom or bottom to top? It does not matter. All right, top to bottom, top to bottom. So here's what I know. 1, 6, 3, and 8 are all equal to each other. 2, 5, 4, and 7 are also equal to each other. Okay? What now? I changed, these were mislabeled. This is a P and a Q. All right, so the measure of angle 8 is 65 degrees. So if that's the case, I know that 3 is also 65 degrees, and so is 1, and so is 6. Everybody agree with that? Number 14 says, what's the measure of angle 7? All right, 7 is not equal to 65 degrees. But how do I figure out how big angle 7 is? How do I figure it out? It's not about how it looks. How do I figure out how big that angle is? What did we talk? What number has popped up a lot? 180. Okay. If it's not equal to 65, then I'm going to subtract from 180. I'm going to do 180 minus 65. 115 degrees. Just subtraction. All right, the measure of angle 6. What's the measure of angle 6? If 8 is 65, how big is angle 6? Guys, I got them both marked. 65. They're either equal or they add up to 180. Okay? In a transversal, I need you to hear the words coming out of my mouth. In a transversal, the angles are either equal or they add up to what? To 180 degrees. So if they're not equal, you're going to need to subtract to figure out the measure of the other angle. All right? Okay, this next part should go pretty quickly. Angles 1, 2, and 3 have to add up to what? 180 degrees. All right? Angles 1, 2, and 3 equals angles 3 and 4. So 1, 2, and 3, we already said equals what? 180. What does angle 3 and 4 equal? If I add angle 3 and angle 4, if I add angle 3 and angle 4, what's this going to equal? It's going to equal 180 degrees. They're a linear pair. This is a linear pair. So that is true. And then number 18, 1 and 2 equals 4. Is that true? Remote interiors equals an exterior. Didn't we just talk about that? 2 remote interiors equals an exterior. That is true. All right. Number 19, we've already done one like it. So there's my 3 angles. Tomorrow, tell me how to set it up in my calculator. They all have to equal 180 added together. So how do I set it up? Very similar to what we did right here. Remember what we did right here? We went 2x plus 1 plus 3x minus 3 plus 9x equals 180. You see it? Same concept here. Help me set it up. Say it again. Minus 5 plus what? Say it again. 2x plus 3x minus 10 equals 180 comma x. And you get to what I done with. Correct. Correct. So you do. So tomorrow, pull your calculator out. Once you practice in menu 3-1. I'm going to hit menu, then I'm going to hit number 3, and I'm going to hit number 1. Menu 3-1. I mean, Leanna. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. 8x minus 5 plus 2x plus 3x minus 10 has to equal 180. And then I'm going to do comma x. I'm going to wait for you to get that typed in. Yep. Did you get it typed in, Leanna? You get it? What'd you get when you hit enter? I don't know. Did you hit enter? Did you get it? I got 15. What'd you get? Let me see what you put. I bet I can find it if you messed up. Let me see it, Leanna. Okay. You get x equals 15. All right, now, Juliana, which one of these do you think is going to be the smallest angle? The 2x, right? It makes sense, right? So I'm going to do 2 times 15. 2 times 15. And what is 2x? What is 2 times 15? Yeah. Look, that 30. 30 degrees is my answer. All right, now find the measure of each angle. Now this one, I actually messed up on this the first time I did it, because here's what I did. The first time I did this, I went 106 plus 3y plus 22 plus 4y equals 180. That is not correct. How do I set this thing up? Because what I have here, I have an exterior angle and two interior angles. How do I set this up? Can you shut that door, Will? All right, how do I set this up? We're going to use Mini 3-1, but how do I set it up? I've got two interiors and one exterior. How do I do it? It's 3y plus 22. Okay, one. These two angles have to equal the exterior. It has to equal 106. So it's a little bit different setup when you're given two interiors and one exterior. It's not add up to 180. It's the two interiors have to add up to the exterior. Do you see the difference in how this is set up? The first time I did this, I missed it because I went 3y plus 22 plus 106 plus 4y equals 180. Yeah, so you still insolve it. You still do menu 3-1, and then you are going to type in practice plan 3y plus 22 plus 4y has to equal 106. And then I'm going to do comma y because my variable was y. All right, now the measure of angle A would be 4 times y, which is 4 times 12, which is what? 48 degrees. I'm sorry, I'm running out. 3 times 12 plus 22. You have calculators. What's 3 times 12 plus 22? Now, how do I find the measure of this angle? Add them up and subtract from 180. Now, I already know that 58 plus 48 is 106. 58 plus 48 is 106. And then you do 180 minus 106, and you get 74 degrees. So what's the measure of angle A?
48.
58. 58. And then BCA is 74. All right. We are not doing these on this test, so mark these out. And that's your review. I will post the recording of this on Canvas if you need to go back tonight when you're studying